A story of blood brothers where one saved lives while the other takes lives. In the still town of Aiken, where the earth ran red with iron and secrets, two brothers were raised on the same plot of land and born of the same mother. Same soil but carved into men by different hands. Oba and Tope. Welcome to my page. Like, comment and subscribe. Oba was the older, louder and bolder of the two. As a boy, he climbed trees no one else would dare. Wrestled goats for fun and vanished into the bush for hours without a word. The day their father was murdered by highway robbers, something inside him snapped. A fuse burned out and a shadow moved in. He didn't cry. He clenched his jaw and said nothing at the funeral. But from that day, he was never truly home again. Tope, his younger brother by 3 years, was his opposite. Steady, careful and grounded. He rose before the roosters, washed his face with well water and spent his days tilling the small plot of cassava their father left behind. While Oba ran toward trouble, Tope sank his hands into the earth, planting rows of yam, waiting for rain, feeding his mother. They loved each other but their love lived in silence. Oba joined a Lagos cult by age 17. It started as protection, guarding DJs, collecting debts, flashing muscles at nightclubs. But it grew into something bloodier. He became Oba D Gun. The name whispered at the back of police vans and in the alleys of Mushin. He carried a pistol in his boot and answers in his fists. He rose through the ranks, not by loyalty but by fear. Still every December, he returned to Aiken with a new phone, dark sunglasses and brown envelopes full of cash. Tope never spent the money. And every time, Oba would ask, half joking, "When are you coming to the city, my farmer?" And Tope would always say, "I'm already rich. This land feeds me." But there was one person who saw both brothers for who they really were. Her name was Kayamaka. She was Oba's girlfriend. Not a party girl. Not a trophy. But a real one. Smart, fierce and from a good home. A final year law student in Unilag, who somehow believed in Oba even when he didn't believe in himself. He met her during a confrontation on campus. He was collecting debts. She stood between him and a boy he was about to slap. "You hit him and you'll answer to me," she had said, standing her ground. Oba laughed then. But when he walked away, he turned and asked her name. And from then on, she softened him. Kayamaka didn't try to fix him. She just reminded him of who he could have been. She would braid his hair while telling him about court cases. She'd scold him when he skipped breakfast. And at night, she'd ask, "How much longer before you leave them, Oba?" And he'd say, "Soon. One more job. One more." But one more became 5. Then 10. Until the job came that finally changed everything. The ledger. A notebook passed between blooded hands, filled with names, real names. Politicians, judges, pastors and police chiefs. All tied to the cult. All with dirt under their fingernails. It was the cult's beating heart blackmail gold. If it leaked, lives would fall apart. Empires would crumble. When Oba got close enough to it, he didn't hand it over. He kept it. He told Kayamaka everything. "I'm going to give it to someone. A journalist. It's time. That ledger will get you killed," she whispered, holding his face. "You know that, right? If it does, I've done something right." She nodded. Silent tears. But someone snitched. Oba didn't know who. But the cult found out he had the book. They came for him but they didn't find him. They found her. They shot Kayamaka outside her uncle's flat in Suralaya in broad daylight. 3 bullets to the chest. She died before the ambulance arrived. Oba didn't cry. Not then. He went into hiding, broken. The woman who made him human was gone because of his choices. He vanished from Lagos, bleeding, hunted and angry. And days later, he appeared in Aiken, half alive, dragging his body across his brother's cassava rows. Tope didn't ask questions. Not at first. He hid him in the barn, gave him water, cleaned his wounds. But Oba's eyes were different. Haunted. He didn't speak for 2 days. Then one night, he said, they killed her. Tope asked, who? And Oba replied, the girl who loved me. The only person who believed I could change. She died because I waited too long. Tope said nothing. But that night, when he lay on his mat, he wept not just for Kayamaka, but for Oba. For the pieces of his brother that might never return. 2 days later, the cult arrived. 2 jeeps, no plates, no warning. Gunshots, dust, screams. Tope shoved Oba out the barn's back door and yelled, run. Oba disappeared into the cassava like a shadow. The police never found a body. Everyone assumed he died. Tope went back to the farm, planting, watering, waiting. He told no one what had happened. Until one morning, a plain brown parcel showed up at the farm gate. No name. Just a note. Bury this. Trust me. Oh. Inside, the ledger. Tope opened it. The pages trembled in his fingers. Names, secrets, blood. And near the back, scrawled in rushed shaky handwriting. They killed Kayamaka. I won't let them bury her truth. This is the last thing I can do. I'm sorry, Tope. Tope didn't take it to the police. He knew better. He took it to a journalist in Abeokuta, an old friend of their father's. The expose broke the next week. Shockwaves hit Lagos. Courtrooms were emptied. Generals forced into hiding. Secret phone calls leaked. Even a senator resigned. It wasn't just a book. It was a bomb. Tope said nothing to the media. He didn't give interviews. He just returned to his yam rows and watered them like he always had. But every day, he passed the mango tree at the edge of the field. The one his father planted before either of them was born. And every time he walked past it, he felt something buried beneath the soil. And then, one dusk evening as the sun melted into the red horizon, a figure appeared on the path. Thin. Limping. Wearing a cap. Scar on his arm. Oba. They didn't run. They didn't cry. They stood beneath the mango tree. 2 men who had seen death and come back changed. You buried it? Oba asked softly. Tope nodded. Deep under Papa's roots. Oba looked at the tree for a long moment. Oba smiled for the first time in months. Good. That's the only soil that deserves it. Then from his bag, he pulled out a handful of tomato seeds. He offered them to Tope, palm open. I thought maybe. It's time I planted something real. Tope didn't say anything. He just took the watering can. And together, they knelt in the soil. Side by side. 2 brothers. One past buried. One future planted. The end.